first of all, my name is Esben, and I've been, you can say, the managing director of Gebrüder Heinemann Retail here in Copenhagen. We operate the duty-free shops in the airport. We operate, furthermore, wholesales for 26 cruise liners. And in addition, we also, you can say, help the distribution to other airports in Denmark. Doing retail for almost 20 years now. I think one of the biggest and maybe the biggest bottleneck of them all is to actually the marketing part, to know your marketing, to know how to target your customers, to define your customer journey. I think that is the biggest challenge when you go from, you can say, a physical store, physical shop, and go into the digital market, because it changes. The customer changes. So you need to adapt both the changing behavior of the customer, but also when you start, you can say, targeting customers in a digital way, you have to be aware that most of them are maybe not even digital today. So how are you going to approach? What kind of platform do you want to use? So the marketing, from my point of view, is the biggest challenge. And then again, when you start doing, you can say, e-commerce, you have to have the right, you can say, support. It means that you need to change actually your whole organization. You have to adapt it into a new world, a new way of working, meaning that it is new competences which is coming into play, and that affects that you also need to look into different kinds of HR topics and other ways of support. But mostly of all, I think, the biggest challenge, and that's maybe also the answer to one of the other questions you have, is that today, I think many are making the big mistake of separating, you can say, the retail part and the e-commerce part. And people have for many years talked about now omnichannel and so forth, but from my point of view, I think omnichannel is dead. What you need to think about instead is actually to have, you can say, some kind of unified commerce instead. You need to have a common footprint, because one of the challenges from physical store is sometimes that you maybe are not able to deliver the same kind of service level as you can get in an e-commerce, meaning that you need to some kind of level it, so you are actually delivering the same to the customers, the same footprint. Either you go in a physical store or on your e-commerce platform, you need to deliver the same message, the same level of service, the same experience. So far, my experience is that when you start connecting the two things from the operational point of view, then it's maybe it could be an operational focus, like saying, okay, how can we adjust our stock? How can we adjust the level of stock in the physical store? Can we actually do it easier by delivering, like home delivering? Could that actually cut up, you can say, the top of the stock level in the shops? And that is from an operational point of view. But what we don't see today, and what I experience, is that we are not good enough to actually listen to the customers through the platforms, through the social media. A lot of people are talking about generation Z and X and Y and I don't know how many generations, but the fact is that it has been like it always has been. The customers are changing all the time, meaning that we need to listen to the customers. And it was easier, you can say, for 10, 15, 20 years ago when we only have the physical stores, because then you are actually interacting with your customers in the store. Right now, you are interacting with the customers online, on social media, and so forth. So you need to collect all this knowledge, all this data you get from the customers into your business model. And that is maybe one of the challenges we also see today, that many businesses are not able to do that. Because when they listen and they use the digital platform, it's actually only to make it easier or cheaper to drive your operations. And I think the retailers who manage to do it going forward would have huge success. The retailers who are not able to listen to their customers through these channels are going to have a difficult time. It is a huge bonus, and I have to use it like that because we know from many years of customer research that people are saying one thing. If you ask people, are you buying organic? Most people are saying yes. When we then look at the receipt, we can see different numbers. Now, of course, it's changing, especially in Denmark, where organic food are heavily increasing. But when you ask people, they will always tell you can say, a better story than you maybe believe in. So, of course, you need to look into the figures, you need to look into the data. You can also do that on SoMe, where you can see what is people actually searching for. And that's the opportunity from my point of view. When you start having or you can discover what is it actually that people are asking for and not what they're doing, that is the opportunity for businesses and for retail going forward. Because actually people wasn't really prepared for it, meaning that the platforms wasn't ready, that the setup wasn't ready. Now, for instance, people start, you can say, using and new services like to-go services, where you pick up your orders in the supermarket, but the supermarket wasn't ready for the capacity, for the IT challenges, and so forth. So sustainable, no, because then you needed to have had been one step ahead instead of now we're just one step behind all the time. But definitely this opened some doors, and it has given a lot of opportunities, and has also pushed the development in the right direction. So some companies have maybe, until the corona, said, maybe it's not worth doing the investment because business is okay. Now people have been forced to do it. You can say the time has also been challenging when you look into the figures for many businesses, meaning that you don't have the capital today to maybe do the heavy investments, meaning that probably we will see that we have reached some kind of limit, and the development from here will take another year, maybe 2-3 years, because we need to start the businesses again, we need to start the cash flow again, so we can afford doing the investment. So from some businesses, it's been fantastic. Looking into other businesses, it has been, you can say, it has actually closed down the development in some way. I think you have to have the knowledge today and the experience, or at least the curiosity to work with it. Do you have some kind of experience? It is a huge advantage. But again, as I mentioned before, we need to see it as one channel and not a separate channel. Meaning that I don't think that necessarily a specialist would be preferable in the future. I think it should actually be the one who are the most customer focused and who managed to work, you can say, unified. I think I read an article some time ago talking about harmonized retail, and that's actually the perspective that you need to go into to the future with. That we need to collect and merge these sales channels. It's so important. It's much easier for the customers to understand. First of all, your strategy, your brand, and of course your business. If you succeed just having one simple footprint, one simple customer experience, I think that is crucial. But for sure, it's going to be important for going forward that the people we hire in the future do have some kind of skills within the e-commerce. As a leader, there's two things which are so important. One of them is to be humble. To be humble for the organization, the people, the culture that you're entering, and respect it. There's been someone before you who has been doing a fantastic job as well, and you need to respect it. Secondly, which is by far the most important thing for every leader, every time, is that you have to adapt. You have to be adaptable to the circumstances and to the situation in which you are in. Of course, it's always a balance because you also need to push and you need to get your results and you need to get your things done. But you need to adapt into the organization and into the culture. Of course, you can also start changing the culture, but you can do that in small bits. You cannot do it all in one. So you need to be humble and you need to adapt to the culture. That is the best advice I can give.